Welcome everyone to the first Warren County Youth Network podcast. We have a series of podcasts that are going on this week. I'm sure you're going to enjoy them. We have lots of wonderfully expressive and artistic, creative, intelligent kids that are working with us here with the Warren County Youth Network, and we're going to talk to them this week. There's been a series of discussions that have been going on in the community with many different community leaders, and there is a mental health crisis, they're saying, with our youth. I think it's not just in Warren County, it's everywhere. We live in a new digital era where kids are interacting with each other in the world through different ways than what we are used to. When I was a child, I remember hills, trees, rocks, and streams. I still think, though, kids are getting outside. I just think they're interacting with the world in different ways than what us adults can deal with. So today I have Braiden Stewart with me. Braiden, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Joe. How are you?
I'm doing really good. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, how old you are, what school you go to, and what things you like to do?
I'm from Warren County. I'm 14 years old, and I go to Youngsville Middle High School.
What do you like to do?
I like to play bass and hang out with my family sometimes.
So here's a question for you. What do you feel when you hear adults say that kids are in a mental health crisis? Do you agree or disagree with that? And just give us some insight. Feel free to talk a little bit about how you are feeling about the world around you and how is school going for you. I mean, basically, this is kind of like therapy with a microphone. You know what I mean? Like, can you kind of tell me how do you feel when you hear, I'm going to ask a series of questions. How do you feel when you hear there's a mental health crisis? Do you agree or disagree with that? And what kind of things do you think could adults be doing to maybe listen differently or interact differently with the youth?
When an adult tells me about a mental health crisis, I don't really know how to feel because they don't know what somebody's going through or why they could be having a mental health crisis. I do agree that there is a mental health crisis going on, and that's just because a lot of people have been going through depression more, and there's just been a lot of mental illness going on these past couple of months. And I think that adults could be trying to be more of a friend to youth and try to connect on them on a friend level instead of just trying to be an adult and trying to make them be better.
When you say a friend, are you talking about parents? Are you talking about teachers? And do you recognize that those people are supposed to be not your friends? They're supposed to be parents and teachers. Like, you know, your friends are your friends, you know, and parents' jobs really aren't to like be your friend. That's dangerous, actually, in many ways. But are you saying though, I'm asking this as posing it in a different way, maybe teachers and parents could approach youth differently with maybe a different a mindset, maybe a different mannerism, maybe come down to your level a little bit more and be more sensitive to your needs? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, pretty much. And when you do say that it's dangerous for like parents and teachers to connect on you, like being your friend, I do think that that's true, but I also think that it's good to be almost like a friend. Like if you're a parent, I feel like it's important to be like a friend with your child because then they feel safer talking to you about things, and that'll make your job as a parent easier.
I understand. I'm a parent and I'm a teacher, and I agree with you. So I guess my concern for the youth these days is that they're not experiencing life like I did when I was a child. Like I used to go out and do a lot of things outside. Do you feel like kids are getting outside as much as they could or should be?
Well, I guess it just sort of depends on the person. I know a lot of people that go outside and do things outdoors, and I also know a lot of people that don't, and that's just how they are. Time is, evolving. Like, things are evolving. There's new technology. There's other things to do than be outside, but I do think that it is important to get outside and do things. But at the same time, if that's not your thing, then, whatever.
Do you see social media shaping the conversation around you and your peers? And if so, how?
Definitely. Because a lot of the things that we learn, in anything really, real world, you learn from social media, like TikTok or Snapchat or Instagram, whatever. You get a lot of information about the world, and you just instantly think that it's true, and you want to talk to people about it to, kind of have a better thinking of it, so that you don't just jump to conclusions, you want somebody else's opinion on it. So I definitely think that conversations are shaped by social media.
So when you're at school or when you're interacting with your peers, you definitely see the influence of social media. That's my question?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm really winging this. I didn't prepare any questions for you. We kind of sporadically decided that Braiden was going to be our first interviewee. And I want to go back to what we were talking about earlier with the whole adults being friends thing, because I think it's dangerous that a parent or any adult would think that they're friends with a child, but they could be friendlier, like a descriptive adjective rather than a noun. Does that make sense when I say that? Yeah, she's shaking her head. Because it is an educator's job and it isn't a parent's job to help prepare you for the real world. Now, when someone says that to you, how does that make you feel when a parent or a teacher at school is like, this is what's going to happen in the real world. If you don't do this and you don't do that, you're going to fail. And do you get a lot of that? And if so, can you give us some examples of let's say teacher hurt? Have any teachers hurt you in any ways, emotionally or verbally, that seem to kind of stick with you? Because I know when I was a kid, I felt that, and the kids never really liked it.
Honestly, I haven't had a lot of bad teacher experiences. There have been a couple, but they weren't really directed towards where I would be in life. I've actually had a lot of teachers encourage me to, go to college and all that stuff. But I definitely understand the real world thing. But then again, school and the real world are very different. So I think it's good to know how different they are, if that makes sense.
Elaborate.
When you're in school, you do a lot of work that you never signed up for, and you have to interact with a whole bunch of people that you don't really like, and you're fed from this cafeteria, and you have principals that get you in trouble, and teachers that do things like that.
Well, Braiden, I want to thank you for sharing your thoughts with us today. I know it's not easy to come out like this and just kind of share your thoughts and opinions, but we do appreciate it, and I hope that you'll stop back and talk to us more sometime.
I would love to. Thanks for having me.
Once again, that was Braiden Stewart from Youngsville High School. She was kind enough to share her opinion on what we are calling a mental health crisis, not just here in Warren County, but anywhere kids are interacting with social media in new and uncharted ways. Some of my takeaways from this conversation were just reminders to all of us that kids are precious and they feel like we could be friendlier in our approach as teachers and parents. I know as a parent, I stress out about my child achieving all the things in this world I want them to be and be a part of. But we do need to take time to listen to them and not so quick to have all the answers. Sometimes they do just need a friend. I'm Joseph Klarner. Come back and see us again on the Warren County Youth Network podcast. Does your child play a band or orchestra instrument at their school? The Warren Music Conservatory is home to the Warren County Youth Orchestra with members from all over the Warren County School District and beyond. It's free to try, no strings attached. The Music Conservatory is home to the area's best music instructors, and the Warren County Youth Orchestra is free to join for all of our students. We also rent and repair instruments of all types, and we carry all of your essential musical supplies. What are you waiting for? Stop dreaming. Start doing today. Call the Warren Music Conservatory today at 814-580-3913 or visit us online at thewarrenmusicconservatory.com.